We're back, baby. It's the charity stripe. Pitch your free throws because they are free. Joshua Fisher, Alexander Tossman, The Rock, Tosopoulos, DJ, Nikki, Snacks, Kreider, Daily Stripe. It is May. It is Monday. It is May 8th, to be exact, 2023. Let's start in the NBA. Let's start with the shovies. Matt Ishbia, little shove from the two-time back-to-back former reigning MVP of the NBA, Nikola Jokic. Shoved Ishbia in the stands, got teed up, was not ejected, proceeded to score 53 points in their loss against the Phoenix Suns. I want to get you guys takeaways from the game. Should he have been suspended? Ishbia came out and said he wants no suspension. He wants him to continue to play, which is a very, high road move by Ishbia, and I think that's the competitive nature in him. I think a lot of owners sometimes would be like, or some people would be like, suspend him. But Ishbia's competitive nature, him being a former basketball player at Michigan State, wanting the best product out on the court, I think pushes that narrative. But I think that's a big story. Obviously, it's making headlines.
I mean, he also held on to the ball, so he was the initial instigation of the entire.
Yeah, I think Jokic went in a little aggressively for the ball.
I agree, but like he had the full grasp on the ball. He also put his hand on Jokic's back. He touched first, actually, before. Look, there was a massive embellishment on the falling back into the chair. The guy's played basketball before. He knows how to take a charge. He knows how to flop. So got to give him a little credit there. Flop heard around the world, I would say. Shout out to the other fan who actually reached across and touched Jokic. That guy got yanked. That guy probably
he got yanked. He was removed from the arena. So
Yankee Doodled.
Do you remember my Yankee Doodle's definitely something different. Do you remember what my initial diagnosis of that was on the Amazon show? Yeah, I thought he was just getting another double whiskey ginger. I thought he was going to cool off, but apparently his flag was up.
Well, that's probably what security told him. Security was like, "Hey man, why don't we get you another? Let's just cool off. Let's get another drink." That's what you do to like your friend who's had way too many. It's been way overserved. And you're like, "We'll get you another drink. Let me buy you one. I'll get it for you." And then you go and you get him a water and you put him in an Uber and send him home.
That's a real Yankee deal right there. There's a lot of stories that I thought, a lot of moments from that Nuggets Suns game. Did you guys see the clip with Jokic on the bench screaming? He's crazy.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the caption, which obviously like was not true, but most of the people were captioning it like they only have two players. How is this happening?
It's so ridiculous that a guy can score 53 points in a playoff game and lose. I mean, Landry Shamet went absolutely scorch earth off the bench out of nowhere. And I mean, he had been nowhere to be really found this series, and he comes in off the bench and goes for 19, hits 6 threes.
That's how he does that, though. That's how he scores 15 plus points. He's a sniper. He's ready to go from the 3-point line. He's got the green light, and when you play with guys like Booker and Kevin Durant, they demand a lot of attention. And if you're a guy like Landry, you got to be ready to shoot. He was ready to shoot, and the shots were falling. So I'm not surprised by that. It just, and at home too, role players always shoot better at home. It's just, now it's a real series, 2-2, and they do not have an answer for Booker or for Kevin Durant, who, Jokic was unbelievable. He was incredible. And Murray was good too. I mean, their 1-2 punch, like they combined for 81 points. That's no small feat. But Booker had 12 assists along with his 36 points. And Michael Porter Jr. only had 11. Gordon only had 11. KCP had 10. They just needed like one other guy to kind of elevate his game.
I mean, it would have been beneficial if Porter Jr. and or Gordon had more than 11 points. Stepped up as a 3 there. But that series all of a sudden is extremely interesting. I'm excited for it. Yeah, they have no one that can guard Booker. Or really, they have no one that can even throw at him. He had 36 and 12 is just an absolute dismantling of the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, so it felt like it was kind of weird that the Nuggets shot less threes than the Suns. Nuggets only shot 22 threes, and in today's NBA, that's kind of an anomaly. Most teams are shooting
Hmm.
at least 33s per game. And the Suns, I bring them up, and they shot 29. They're not a team that shoots a lot of threes. Booker and Kevin Durant live in the mid range. So that I don't know if that's a kind of defensive strategy that Monty is imploring to run guys like Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray off the 3-point line. Um, but
Yeah.
it's working right
Yeah,
now.
absolutely. And I think Porter Jr. shot the most threes on the team, and I don't necessarily think that's a situation you want to be in if you're the Denver Nuggets. You ideally want Jamal Murray to be shooting the 9 threes and Porter Jr. to be shooting the 3 or 4 3 pointers. Uh,
I don't
Is
necessarily
Devin
agree with that. But
is
yeah,
Devin
go ahead.
Booker playing the best basketball than anyone right now in the playoffs? Gotta be, right?
I would
Averaging
say
almost 37 points.
I would say he and Jimmy Butler are the two best players in the playoffs right
yeah,
now. And he's probably one. He's 1A to Butler's 1B just because of, I think, if you took their averages and Butler missed the game too, right? Yeah,
yeah, he's
it's a fair
been
assessment.
absolutely unbelievable. He's probably played his. This is the best. God damn it, ESPN, Jesus, so annoying. He's probably played the best basketball he's played. You guys didn't hear it?
Didn't
Oh,
even hear it.
Yeah.
You just had a
No?
melt. You just
sorry. I
had a
mean,
meltdown
I
on
hate
air
when
for
you
no
go on.
reason.
I'm looking at ESPN. They play the random commercials, and it's like, "Give a little loving." I'm like, Jesus, dude. I'm just trying to look up some number. I was just double checking in on some stats, but yeah, Booker's been unbelievable. I mean, Jokic has been great too. He's been really awesome as well.
Yeah.
And but both a lot of these guys have put in by and large pretty good performances. Harden, I know he had a couple, he had 2 rough games, but he's had 2 games where he's taken down the Boston Celtics and been the best player in the court in that series. And we could kind of jump and pivot to there. I was talking to our friend Abe this morning. He said best 2 out of 3 for all the marbles, which was a very interesting, it's true. It's a very interesting way to look at it. He's very anti Joe Mazzulla. He, like many people, questioned the lack of a timeout call at the end of the game by Joe, which the more I thought about it, the more disappointing it was, because it was apparent looking back on it that with around, between 11 and 8 seconds left in the game, he wasn't going to get the shot that he wanted, Tatum, and he wasn't going to get the look that he wanted, and nothing was really developing. And he had 2 timeouts at that point, and there was no shame in taking another timeout and reassessing what you had out there. You had done what you wanted to do and killed enough clock where you'd pretty much locked in the last shot, which is fine. But locking in the last shot, killing the clock, and not calling a timeout and letting your players play, especially when the narrative by one of your players this week had been that the offense was random, not a very good look on Joe, in my opinion. And from the Philly standpoint, Tucker did a great job defensively. Maxey and Harris were helpful in the doubles, and Tatum. Embiid is such a massive presence on the defensive side and so great from the line. And then Harden, proving once again that he's going to have games where he goes 2 of 14, then he's going to have games where he's the best shooter, the best offensive player in the court. Dishing, rebounding, scoring at every level, major big time threes, using the draw that Embiid has to his advantage and capitalizing. I found it to be a very, very disheartening performance for a Celtics team who, once again, yes, they were down most of the game, but by the end of the game, they had regained the lead. And they were up a few points, 4 points, 5 points. And then the narrative quickly switched to the Sixers blowing it, to the Celtics once again not being able to close.
But they head back to home court, so they got to feel good about that. And Philly has had to do some extraordinary things in the games where they've won. So I feel like Celtics just they got to play their game. They got to stay tight as a team, as a unit, and play clean basketball. not get into foul trouble early, not turn the ball over, do all the little things. And it's got to come from the players, man. And that's what it did last year too. Like Marcus and Jalen, like those were the guys that were vocal. I think Ime was really vocal and really critical of them in the regular season. Remember how much like that was a conversation about that team, how into these players he was digging, and how it kind of changed the foundation and the mindset of the team, because they had a really rocky start last year in the regular season, the first couple of months, and then they turned it around, and in the playoffs, they were ready to play. Took down the Bucks. Even though they didn't have Middleton, they did what needed to be done to get to the finals. They didn't have the experience of playing in the finals like the Warriors did, so you can't knock them for that, right? And now here they are. It's a new head coach, but I think it's just the players have to they have to take over the narrative once again, and almost like bump your coach out.
He gave him the room to do that in that final play when he basically left it up to the players to go and kind of get their last bucket. But yeah, what were you saying, Nick?
Yeah,
I was gonna say, speaking of the Warriors Lakers, you guys can go to the game tonight for as low as $348.
I'm actually surprised it's not more than that. Is that the
That's
nosebleed?
Yeah, I mean, it just says tickets as low as $348 on Vivid Seats. So I'm sure like that's probably like the bottom right now for nosebleeds.
Like back up against the back wall.
Yeah, I mean, I could take a look at like what the average is.
Courtside is sorry.
Yeah, 350. Yeah, all of the nosebleeds are like between the 300 and 400, 500 range. I mean, I'm looking at the 100 sections, $2,300, $1,900, $1,600, $2,200. Like, who is paying for these?
Aaron Cohn. Yeah, there's the 23. They're listed. I'm looking at the highest listed ones.
So Vivid Seats behind the basket, like the floor seats behind the basket, starting at 17 grand. Yeah. Or just courtside, starting at 17 grand.
So in situations like that, someone already has the seat, right? And like, no one's actually gonna buy that seat.
This is like on aftermarket. The highest one I see right now is 48 grand.
That's just like, hey, I'm there to like be on TV. Don't they give a lot of those tickets though to like celebrities?
Yeah, a lot of those tickets are and they're like being given away. Like those people don't even have to buy them.
Yeah,
I would expect.
Kind of wild. Let's talk about that series though. Like, there's 2-1 series tonight. You got Heat up on the Knicks, and you got Lakers up on the Warriors. Where do you guys see this going? Who's under more pressure, Warriors or Knicks? What do you guys? What's the outcome you guys want to see, and what's the outcome you guys expect?
Pressure-wise, I'd say probably the Knicks are under more pressure, just because like they're playing against an 8 seed. I mean, Golden State's won so many titles already that, I mean, I know it's a new year, but like the Knicks have still just been trying to get over the hump for years. I think I want New York to win, and I think I want the Lakers to win, because I think ultimately that'd be a really fun finals. It's not going to happen. I'm just saying, like it'd be fun to see like Boston and LA or New York and LA or some semblance of that.
I would say in the individual game itself, there's more pressure in my mind on the Warriors, because I think their opponent is better. I think that the Knicks first off, the Knicks weren't supposed to be here. Like, no one expected them to not necessarily get to the second round. I think some people had projected that, but I don't think many people had them going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I know that they're playing an 8 seed in Miami, but it's Jimmy Butler. It's Eric Spoelstra. Spo's won multiple championships. He's, in my mind, the best coach in the NBA currently. And I think that they have roster-wise, I still believe that their roster through and through has more talent on it. Doesn't mean that they're going to win the game. They're down in the series. But I think it's a real uphill battle right now for the Warriors because you're playing against LeBron James. You're playing against Anthony Davis.
James?
Anthony Davis on any given night could be the best player on the court. And that's saying something. You're the Warriors. You have Steph Curry. And that team's really, really deep. So to me, it feels like there's more pressure. And just the legacy element, we talked about this last week. Like, for Steph, he's, for a lot of people, all-time basketball players between 7 and 10, 5 and 10. He needs the series. He needs to beat LeBron to continue to climb up the ladder. And, yeah, it's a tough place to play. That stadium is going to be rocking. It's going to be packed, even though these tickets are inordinately expensive. It will be a full house, and there's going to be a lot of boos when Draymond steps out on the court, whether he's starting or coming off the bench. So I feel like there's a little bit more pressure on the Warriors here. Although I do think that if the Warriors go down 3-1, I think they have a better chance at coming back as opposed to the Knicks going down 3-1. I think if the Knicks go down 3-1, this series is over. There's no way they win. I think if the Warriors go down 3-1, it's slim chances that they come back. I'd still expect the Lakers to win.
But you wouldn't put that past Steph.
But he's done that before.
Sliver of hope. It'd be pretty poetic. It'd be poetic, too.
He's done that before, though. He's beaten KD. He took down that's how the Thunder collapsed. He took that. They were the 73-win Warriors down 3-1 to the Thunder, and he came all the way back, beat them, and he just dismantled that duo and took down that franchise. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I obviously want New York to win. I think it's a better storyline. It's more fun. But we've said it, Jimmy Butler's been the 1B, 1A at certain points in the playoffs. So when you have the best player on the court, in my opinion, you have the better chance to win more often than not. And he, with head and shoulders, to me, is the best player on that basketball court in a given night. I think the Warriors-Lakers series is fun. I think this Lakers team, again, they had such a horrible start, but this is kind of where we expected them to be. Like, we thought they were going to have a bounce-back year. We thought they were going to be contending for a title. So at full health with the moves they've made, I'm not necessarily surprised that we're in this position where they could go up 3-1 on the Warriors and take them down. I would love for that series to go 7. I think that'd be extremely exciting for the narrative of LeBron versus Steph. And we've brought up the narrative of, can Steph jump LeBron? Can Steph enter that upper echelon of like top 3, top 4 guys where many people don't have him? But on the inverse, it'd be very interesting to see LeBron, who isn't the best player on his team, but we'll see how he continues to play. And if he could have put together a game or two to close him out, they beat him like in a gentleman's sweep, what that does for his narrative to still be like, I run things around here. But both games are really exciting. Obviously, Draymond Green has made a lot of noise. He recaps every game on his podcast, for better or for worse. And he's given really good insight, which is something I think we've never seen before in anything, in any form of media. So I appreciate that, whether he's polarizing or not. And then with the Knicks, I still think Randall, we're kind of back to where we were a couple years ago with Randall having a great regular season and then being really subpar and disappointing in the playoffs. So they might be in a position where they have to trade Randall come summer.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the criticism's a little unfair given that he's hurt right now. I know the conversation was pretty similar before the playoffs even started, though. I mean, I think, Josh, you and I might have been talking about it. Like, is that enough? We never really thought that was enough. Than Brunson, Randall, and RJ, if you want to contend, truly contend. So if you move off Randall, I mean, how much are you getting? Are you moving off? Are you packaging Randall and RJ?
That way you avoid giving up picks. You keep IQ off the bench, who could be a 6th man of the year. You keep Brunson. It's just at that point, who can you go out and get? We were going back and forth and contending yesterday. What the Clippers can do? Can they get rid of Kawhi? Can they
Yeah, I was about to say that maybe there's your Kawhi package.
Paul George
Or honestly,
package. That's what I was
maybe
getting
there's
to.
your
Yeah,
Paul George package.
Paul George
Yeah.
to the Knicks and Brunson would be fun. And his injuries are more
Yep.
one-offs. But veering away, did you guys watch the F1 race? Did you guys catch that or catch the results of that?
Didn't catch us
Verstappen
up.
started in the 9th slot, won, which to me, that sport was so exciting with the TV series and that had such a good push and had such a when people getting into it and it was an awesome avalanche and snowball effect. But it's now
But
no parity.
there's no parity.
Same two guys win every time. Both Red Bull guys.
Yeah, but that was the same thing though when the show was airing as well. I mean, it was Lewis Hamilton winning it almost every single time. And then Verstappen was young and he was coming up, and then he started to win and then kind of flip the title a
To
little bit.
me, I would love to see more parity. I would love to go into a race watching this and being like, okay, one of the Red Bull guys there's a chance one of the Red Bull guys doesn't podium. He was plus 125 to win a race, which is kind of crazy. He was almost even money to win an F1 race. So I thought, while the sport's exciting, the scene is exciting, I would love to see some parity in the sport. Mix up at Red Bull. Another major race that went down this weekend, the Kentucky Derby. Mage takes it. We know people. We knew a lot of people who were betting on Mage and Nick. You were like, why did so many people know to do this? I think it's because they have this thing where you can buy a part of the horse, and many people, the Commonwealth, the joint Commonwealth, many people were invested, and bought in at the good odds.
Yeah, I wish I would have known before that. Like I only heard about it until after it happened. I mean, obviously, I probably could have paid attention a little bit more on social media, but it's a big weekend, and we know many people that technically had ownership in that horse. Saw it all over social media. Toss, you had a big bet. Got him at 9-1 odds.
Yeah, that was. I did not know that we had a group of friends who were invested in this horse. I just did a little bit of research once Forte dropped out of the race, and Mage had run him really, really close recently. It's kind of an up and coming horse, and so I took a swing. It paid out for me, but those guys, I mean, they even had like merch. They had our buddies
hats
on that said Mage. They were going absolutely nuts after they
Well,
won.
We had buddies actually sitting in the real owner's box, like not like the Commonwealth owners, like the actual horse owner's box, right?
Settlement was there. Lieberman's were there. Potter was there. They were all like in the winner's circle. Like
Lieberman, is his second year in a row.
Okay,
picking the winning.
Yes, but he didn't pick it last year. Zach did. Stryker picked it off the name because his grandfather's nickname was the name of the horse. So he went because no shake on Ryan, because what he did this year was awesome again. And he had a very fantastic. He's one of our buddies who's a really good bettor. Great football season. Apparently, he's been a little weak in hockey and basketball. That's what happens. You get overzealous. It tide evens out. But he's had a really good football season, and he hits bets like this. But he would never have taken it last year because it was he was the long shot. He was like the longest odds, and they just did it as a joke. But yeah.
But he's won 2 years in a row. He's gotten paid 2 years in a row.
That plus money is an understatement. He's nearing down payment money.
Well, you say he had a good football season. He's won 2 Kentucky Derbies in a row. That just goes to show. But he's having a rough NHL and a rough NBA. There's a lot more games in the NHL and the NBA, so there's a lot more opportunities.
Yeah.
To even.
Yeah, he always ended up on top. But the NHL and I think the NHL and the NBA is tougher to bet, in my opinion. NFL, like as the season goes on, with injuries, and the way we kind of got in the rhythm of like calling it out, like you could definitely get in the zone in football, which we will get to, in a few short months. We'll be back. We'll be back in the saddle on fantasy football. I've already seen like the fantasy football mock drafts of the rookies, the fantasy football mock drafts, for dynasty leagues where Bijan's falling. And we kind of touched upon that, I think, last week at one point. We discussed like where you guys would take him in drafts. So I found that to be particularly interesting. Ohtani making history, joining Babe Ruth. Only players ever, 100 home runs, 500 strikeouts. Who's better, Ohtani the pitcher or Ohtani the hitter, as it stands today?
I honestly think the pitcher. I think I thought it was the hitter at first when he first hopped on the scene, but what he's doing right now, pitching, in this day and age when there's so many good hitters, it's pretty phenomenal.
He's been nothing short of remarkable once again. And I've heard, and you guys know me, I was one of the guys in the initial bump to be like, hey, this guy's gonna have to pick a side, right? He's gonna have to make a decision at some point or another, whether he wants to be a pitcher, whether he wants to be a hitter, and he's gonna have to pick a side. But quite frankly, people have come up to me recently and have had the same sentiment, and I've been like, no, like this guy could keep doing it, this, at least for now, he's doing it at both at such a high clip. Like it'd be foolish to pull him off of one, especially, like you're saying, Nick, like the value of a pitcher these days, like a lot of guys can rake, a lot of guys can hit, like having a really dominant ace, especially for an Angels franchise that has been starved of one for a decade.
There's like less than 10 of them right now. I am not so sure that he'll be on another team by the end of the season. I mean, they're 3 games above 500 in a pretty wide open division. I know your Rangers are at the top there right now, Toss, but I mean, there are 4 teams in that division right now that are just neck and neck. And look, if the Angels stay in this hunt, 2-3 games out around the trade deadline, like this is their last shot with Trout and Ohtani. So I think they're going to hold on to it and see if they can
might
just
be
make
buyers.
it happen.
I mean, as it stands right now, like looking at the standings, the AL East is ridiculous. Everyone's above 500. The Yankees are in last at 18 and 17. They'd be in second in the Central. They'd be in third in the West. They'd be in second in the NL East. And the other 2 divisions in the NL, they'd be like in third. Be tied with you. They're same record as you guys, Nick. I'm just looking at who's going to be selling come the deadline, and like
I don't know that many teams will. I think they were saying it last night on the Sunday Night Baseball telecast that this year there's just so much like good to average teams. Like there's a lot of teams in the mix that there's really going to be only a couple of teams selling and a couple of people available. I mean, obviously you can scratch the bottom of the barrel like Colorado and Cincinnati and Washington and Oakland and Kansas City and Chicago. But other than that, I mean, a lot of those teams as well have such a young core that like they're not looking to like really sell anyone. They're looking to like get younger, and there's just not a ton of vets on their roster or assets that can go elsewhere. I'm sure like we'll see a lot of relievers fly off the boards and stuff like that because like those are always but like in terms of like true middle of the lineup type guys, like I don't necessarily know they're going to be that many. I mean, like what can Colorado realistically do? I mean, CJ Cron, Charlie Blackmon, like no one's taken on Chris Bryant's contract. Like, the Reds, like they don't really have a ton of like vets, like their lineup is pretty young. Same thing with the Nationals. I mean, Oakland, I guess, has a couple of guys that are popping off, but like they're young as well, might as well just hang on to them. Chicago White Sox, I think, might be the biggest seller.
I was on the nose who I was looking at because you mentioned first of all, the Royals are young and they were going to want to keep it young. Vinny P has been on fire. Bobby Witt's been very disappointing, but he's still a massive young piece. and they don't have the pitching yet. The A's are so bad. It's like, who do you even want from that team? Like, they suck. Like, who are you going to realistically go and
Yeah.
get? The Rockies, Crone, Brian signed the long deal there. He's been good. You could from the Reds get India if he's like not in the timeline. But that White Sox team, like, just if Dylan Cease turns it around, does he become available? Giolito, Lance Lynn.
Well, I mean, look, I think you got to like what we were just saying, that not too many teams are going to be sellers. So the White Sox can be in a position where they can probably get more for some of these guys. Like the value couldn't be higher right now because there's just not enough out there, right? Like the demand is so high, but there's just not enough supply. So like if they can sell high, on Lance Lynn or Giolito. You mentioned Cease, obviously like Grandal, like people always need catchers, Tim Anderson. I know he's getting up there in age, but like he's always a good guy to have in their lineup, Benintendi, I don't know if they'd let go of Luis Robert because, he's technically like their young superstar that still hasn't really like fully popped off to his potential, but he might be
that
the
whole
only
team was
untouchable in
like,
there.
yeah, sorry, Alex.
Could they also stay the course a little? Like it's so early.
They're getting
so
Liam
bad.
Hendricks back.
I know they just scored seven. They scored 17 runs last night. When the lineup is right, it's right. And look, maybe we wait a month to see on this team, because there were teams that started slow last year and turned things around, and maybe
They switched it up off the top. Yeah. They got rid of.
Going
I mean,
into the
Tony La
season, they
Russa
did.
drank himself out of a job last year.
Pedro Grifol.
Yeah, who are you?
He definitely played in the bigs. He won the World Series. He was a bench coach. He was a coach for the Royals. He won the World Series with them. So he's got some experience.
Good for him.
Cardinals are down there too, though. I mean, if they don't turn it around quick enough, like they could be sellers. I don't know if they're like selling Arenado and Goldschmidt, but I mean, there's some guys on that roster that can potentially, move around.
I would be intrigued. There are guys, but first of all, Arenado's contract is pretty hefty, so he might be a little cumbersome to move.
Yeah, well, it was hefty in Colorado too, and they moved it.
I mean, he is having a rocky start, like his team. So he's having a rocky start. Yeah. I mean, the White Sox, just not spend too much time on them, but they're just looking at them realistically, like they are a team full of guys that were supposed to be so good and such game changers, and almost none of them have really reached their potential. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of wild to watch. But yeah, I mean, the MLB, I think you're right, Nick. If the Angels are hovering around 500, then there's no way they're going to, for the minimum, like risk ticket sales to go get Ohtani. But even if they did, wouldn't it be wild if like the Rays did it for a rental?
The Rays? Yeah, I mean, that would be wild, but I don't know.
You a straw in the water bottle type of guy?
If I have a straw, I use a straw.
You've always been a straw in the water bottle type of guy. That's
since day one.
That's not true. I always fill my coffee things with water so I can drink it with a straw after.
I've seen you physically crush a water bottle in your hand.
I don't chug water as much anymore, honestly, but I have done that.
But there was never a straw involved. So
in the past year, I'd say I've become more of a straw in the water bottle guy.
Got it. Okay, can I give you guys just a fun little Ranger fact of the day?
Sure.
They have 221 runs through the first 33 games of the season, which is a club record, and it's the most by any team since the year 2000.
Are you going to ask us who that team was?
The Rays are at 225 runs, so
different amount of games, I believe.
Yes.
No. Or maybe they both
you guys
set
have
the
played.
record.
You guys have played 30 or 40. Wait, you guys have played 33 games,
30,
and they 35. Have played 35.
There you go. I
See,
actually
don't get shut out.
I actually don't know Josh, who.
I'm probably like I think it might have been one of the teams in your division. I would imagine. Like, couldn't it be the A's, 2000 A's, like the Mariners, like some Jason Giambi steroid era BS?
Maybe it could be. I'm looking.
I'm just
looking.
curious.
I'm trying to find out.
Yankees,
right now.
maybe.
It's curious.
I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
I
I'm
don't
so
know.
curious.
Toss those,
You got some games for us?
Yeah, I do have a game for you guys. I have a couple of games. The first one that we'll
Love
play
games.
because we were talking about the MLB is a little guess the team game that I've put together. So what I will do is I will give you 5 players from a team, but after I give you one player, you each have to take a guess. You only get one guess. You don't get to rattle off 3 teams.
Josh is gonna smoke me because he's been playing fantasy this year, and that like really opens up.
Dude,
your
you might
eyes
take
to
me
what
down.
else is
You
out there.
follow just as much as I do. Don't with this
I
sad boy. Like, oh,
tried
I follow
to
my team more than anything, but like you see like who's available
yeah, but I'm
on
not looking
the
at the.
free agent
I'm
market
not
all
looking
the
at the
time, and like
scrubs.
you play against.
No offense
yeah,
to the guys
let
playing.
me clarify here. So right, the guys that are going to be listed, I am going to go worst player to best player, or least recognizable player on that team to most recognizable player.
Got it.
And even the guys that I'm picking as the most recognizable player is not like you will both be able to know exactly who the team is once I get to the last guy named.
Got it.
But my intention is to make it quite difficult before we get there. So we'll try it out and we'll see. And maybe we won't play this game again because Josh he's too in the weeds on the.
I might not
on the
be, dude. I
transaction
might
wire
not
in
be.
fantasy baseball. All
Let's
right.
do it.
Okay. So you each get one guess after
Okay.
I say each individual.
Okay.
First team. Cooper Criswell.
You give
Do
it
you
a
want
shot.
to go first, or should I go first? Cooper Criswell is a member of the Detroit Tigers.
Marlins.
Okay. Josh?
So that's a no.
Nope. Zach Birdie.
Yeah, I'll give it.
Should we snake it?
Yeah, Josh, go
Zach
ahead.
Birdie. He sounds. Zach Birdie. You know what? Zach Birdie sounds like a White Sox.
Okay, he is not. Nick?
Baltimore Oriole.
Incorrect.
Birdie.
I might give 2 here because you guys have guessed 4 total teams, and I don't want you to run out of teams.
Okay.
Jose Siri and Luke Riley.
Oh, that's the Astros, right? No, wait, he was on.
Is it the
He
Rays?
was on the Astros last year.
It is the Rays. My final guy was going to be Brandon Lau, which of course I think would have brought it home for you guys. Okay, moving on to another team here. Cody
Oh,
Bolton.
man.
Cody Bolton.
That guy sounds like a Royal.
Go ahead, Josh.
He's not. By the way, like
Um,
these guys are relievers who have pitched like 2 innings. Like they might
Giants.
no. Johan Ramirez.
The Reds.
Incorrect.
Brewers.
Incorrect. Tucupita Marcano.
I know this. Go ahead, Josh.
Rockies.
Pirates.
Nick,
There you go.
Let's go. It's 1-1.
There
traded
you
the
go. Look,
Pirates. Ding,
so
ding,
many
ding,
guys
ding.
come to the Padres system. You might be
Joe
there you
Musgrove
go.
deal, baby.
There you go. And the next 2 I was going to list are Miguel Andujar and then Connor Joe. Now, this is the tiebreaker. I only picked 3 teams here. This is working out perfectly. Josh is taking a sip from his straw. Nick with the Tivana, not a sponsor, but could
T Java.
Oh, T-Java. My bad, T-Java.
Cheddar Joe's.
Unsweet?
Unsweet.
Flavored or no flavored?
Nope, just original black tea.
There you go. Okay. Brandon Hughes.
The Rangers.
Incorrect.
The New York Mets.
Incorrect. Brad
Ugh.
Boxberger.
He's been on like 95
Former
teams.
Padre.
Marlins.
He has.
He's been on them though recently.
Nope.
Brewers.
But he's been on them recently too.
Incorrect. Okay, so as I get to the third player, because we're in the tie break, I'm opening the floor to both of you. We don't have to wait for each other.
Okay.
Luis Torrens.
Oh, he was on the Mariners. Is he still on the Mariners?
Incorrect.
Is he on the Twins?
Also a former Padre, by the way.
He is not.
Cubs.
Matt Mervis.
I was gonna say Cubs too, because you said ooh
On the
at
Brewers?
Milwaukee. Yeah.
Yeah, I indicated. I gave a little indicator.
But then you said
Great game.
Torrens, and I was like, wait, is he still on the
Mervis.
Mariners?
And then the fifth player I was going to say was
Cubs
Cody
Mervis is a big call up.
Bellinger.
That was a fantasy baseball helpful moment.
Well, I'm glad I
I
picked a
know who
couple
that
of
is.
guys who had bounced around.
Really good. Those are tough.
Boxberger.
Really good selections. Yeah, he's literally played. He's
been everywhere.
Octavio detailing it. Was there one more game you had for us because you're the game master?
Yeah, I did have another game, and I wanted to kind of start
Please.
implementing this game on our Monday show.
Hold on,
we're
real quickly. Do you guys know how
Oh,
many
yeah.
teams Boxberger's been on?
11.
He's been on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Wow.
Started his career with the
Who
Padres.
hasn't, apparently.
He was an All-Star in
No, he was-
2015, AL save leader.
He's
With
these
the Rays.
What was his longest stint somewhere?
Rays.
The Rays. 2014 through 17. He threw an immaculate inning on May 8th. Today! 2014.
Oh, wow.
9-year
Wait, so-
anniversary.
Immaculate inning, for those who don't know, is 3 up, 3 down, 3 strikes.
We got to bet on the Rays today. for
9
playing.
strikes.
Yeah. Bet on him at
Yeah,
Bet
I'm
Online.
sure their odds are
GG.
not great.
Yeah.
Use the promo code BELIEVE.
All right, final game.
Yeah,
Quick
final
final
game.
game.
It's going to be a Monday recurring. It might change shows after we unfortunately have to put Succession to rest, but we are all watching Succession on Sunday nights. It's one of our favorite shows. Episode 7 came out last night. It was epic. It was fun. It was exciting. It was a good time. But my game is Succession. Guess the quote. I will give you the quote, and you will tell me who said it. This is not necessarily from last night's episode, because I figured that'd be a little too easy, as it's fresh in your mind. It's more so just general Succession quotes. Okay, I will kick it off. And I will do no indication with my voice for this one. Josh, you will guess first. Nick, you will guess second. I'm not saying I'd make a better CEO. That's unsaid.
Jerry. Thank you, man.
No. It's a good guess, though.
Carl.
No. See, this is a comedic one.
Greg.
This is a funny one. That's why I picked it. It's Connor Roy.
Oh, Roy. Okay, you're going to give us
Connor.
such a one guess. Okay, Connor Roy. He's hysterical.
Yeah. Yep. I just wonder if the sad I'd be without you is less than the sad I
Tom.
get from being with you.
I'm sorry.
Hey, it's my turn, bro.
Yeah, we
Tom.
both.
Yeah.
Hey,
This
point
one's
for me.
this good call back to last night's
Get outta here.
episode. as
1 point
this-
for me.
Point for everybody.
What do you mean?
Yeah, okay, Nick, you guess first on this one. You look like a dildo dipped in beard trimmings.
That kind of sounds like Roman.
It is, in fact, Roman. Talking about, Josh?
Kendall.
Who's he talking about? He's
That's
talking
it.
about
Stewie.
It's kind of an act.
Okay, here's
Okay.
another one.
Where are you finding these, by the way? IMDb?
Just on the interwebs, man.
Let's go.
Not all from IMDb. I hit up a few different sources. They call Gil Meth Head Santa because he so rarely delivers.
Oh my god.
Josh?
Gil Meth Head Santa because he's so rarely did. Oh, it's tough. That is so. Frank.
Nick, any thoughts? No, not Frank.
Is it
That was another
Stewie?
guess.
It is not Stewie. It's Hugo. Hugo. With
Wow.
the finger. Yeah. Okay, here's another one. You don't hear much about syphilis these days. Very much the MySpace of STDs.
Frank. No, sorry, Carl.
Greg.
Carl. Tom. I would say
Double
Carl.
Tom.
Yeah.
Know
Or
enough about
syphilis.
MySpace.
No, he knew no syphilis for sure.
Oh, Carl knows syphilis. Okay, this one I forget.
Carl
if we can
loves
use
brothels.
profanity, but we're just gonna try it. He ate my fucking chicken. What's next? Stick his cock in my potato salad?
That's Logan, right?
Gotta be
That is
Logan.
Yeah. And who is he
He ate
talking
my
about?
fucking-
Josh?
That Madsen?
He's talking about Tom. It's an early season when Tom is like getting more involved and he's literally like eating chicken at one of their dinner parties. You're not Logan,
Oh,
and that's a good
Nate.
thing.
last night.
Yeah. Nate from last
But
night.
he goes, I'm not Gil and you're not Logan.
And
That's
that's
a
a good
good
thing. And I thought that was from a
good
tertiary
line.
character like Nate, a really good line, really powerful line, meant a lot, and really affected Kendall for sure.
You know what's
So,
funny is that Nate is like obviously someone that you're not supposed to like, but he seems like one of the most level-headed people in the show.
Yeah, I completely agree.
He's a hero maker.
Completely agree. He's not up for the shenanigans that everyone else is, and neither was Gil. If you remember from season 1, it wasn't
Correct.
about he didn't want the involvement of Logan. He just wanted Shiv to work on his team and
Real
play by
Yep.
the rules.
Got any more? Or is that it?
That's it. That concludes the game, and that also concludes
done.
the
Yeah, I just wanted to
episode.
quickly ask you guys in the succession, just quickly down the line. Who did you maybe feel worse for? Who won the Shiv Tom argument, or there are no winners? It was just losers.
No one wins.
I thought Tom was more right, but it doesn't make him more of a winner.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah, I
it
agree.
hurt, it deeply saddened me, and I thought by both actors, it was a great travel and a great journey through the episode that they took us on. Really strong, really strong.
Yeah. I thought it was
Horrible,
a
one of
terrible
the worst
gift
of
that
ours.
he gave her, though. Never give your significant other a scorpion and say that she reminds you of
Horrible
scorpions.
idea.
It's terrible.
Well, gents, we'll see you guys tomorrow on May 9th when Brad Boxberger did not deliver the immaculate inning. Hit your free throws because they're free.